All over the world, we're seeing the devastating impact of this invisible killer.
The National Guard, these are tremendous people, and through FEMA, the federal government will be funding 100% of the cost of deploying National Guard units to carry out approved missions to stop the virus.
The president also signed the Defense Production Act today, and it could invoke wartime authority over production of certain equipment.
For those who are getting impacted, those who are getting laid off, freelancers, people who are losing their livelihoods because of this global pandemic.
It's a 7-hour wait at my friend's gun store. There's barely anything left. Oh my God, look at that, all sold out.
In a world progressively getting more dystopian, we can only choose to speak on the things that matter.
Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish is a very, very talented musician, and at the age of 14, she released a song called Ocean Eyes. Fast forward a few years, she won 5 Grammys in one night. And this all began because her brother is a producer and she's a vocalist. They produced a few songs in the bedroom and swept the entire digital landscape. She basically blew up overnight. And honestly, I'm a really, really big fan of her music. Like, have you heard Ocean Eyes? With the ocean eyes. Okay, the Ocean Eyes song doesn't exactly sound like that, but you get the point. And if you are familiar with Billie Eilish at all, you can notice that her style is extremely peculiar. I wouldn't know that because my fashion is extremely normal. She has like neon green roots over here, and most of her clothes would be considered extremely oversized. They're gigantic. And this is something that was noticed very early on when Billie Eilish started stepping into the public eye. Because the quintessential female pop star for a very long time, I would say ever since the 80s, maybe even before that, were known to be extremely revealing. And this was basically a way to rebel against the conservative social norms in terms of how a woman should dress for the last few decades in terms of where America was. And by a lot of these female musicians and pop stars exposing themselves like that, it made a very, very bold statement in terms of female liberation. I mean, you even saw this with the Flappers back in the 20s. I mean, that's really tame considering where we are now, but back then, that was edgy as fuck. And as time progresses, when the pendulum swings one way, it swings back the other way. So nowadays, we have almost an oversaturation when it comes to the sexualization of the female image, especially in media, movies, music, and anything of that nature. And that's when Billie Eilish walks onto the scene as a 14, 15-year-old wearing extremely modest, baggy clothing. Very, very different attitude considering what the attitudes were of other pop stars from the past. And she basically shakes up and transforms the whole landscape of what a female pop star should act and look like. And this was extremely refreshing for the time that we live in. She was applauded heavily for the fact that she's not willing to put out her body like that. But yes, you have the entire Twitter army and everything else. They basically rallied behind her and said, yes, I am so finally happy that there is a female musician, pop icon that doesn't overly sexualize herself or reveal herself in any way. And then this came out.
We decide who they are. We decide what they're worth. If I wear more, if I wear less. Who decides what that makes me?
And then everybody goes crazy. She plays a video at a live show that's really artfully done, I believe. Everything's really dimly lit and there's golden light cascading over her body, and she slowly begins disrobing, with her disembodied voice commentating over it. In summary, it basically says, people judge me for my music and how I look, but I'm still gonna do me. What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh yeah, that's right, I'm doing me. Only late 2000s kids will know that one. Yep, really positive message. Same kind of message I like to push as well. And her disrobing was almost like a revealing of her true identity. It was supposed to symbolize her. It doesn't matter what everyone thinks about me. I'm gonna be me to my fullest extent regardless of what you say. And then you see the puritanical echoes of America seeping in through the subconscious of the people watching Miss Eilish.
Why is she revealing? She's only 18 years old. I bet you there's a whole team behind her of really terrible men that convinced her to sexualize herself for monetary gain and more clout.
Yeah, I mean, that could be definitely the case. But I mean, if you look at the video, it really isn't that bad. Look at Britney Spears during this time. That is sexualization. And when I'm seeing this, I'm really seeing the disparity when it comes to the attitude of nudity and let's just say body positivity or whatever you want to call it. America has a very interesting attitude when it comes to nudity. You aren't allowed to see a nipple on your TV screen, but you definitely can watch a serial killer kill multiple people with blood and gore included. In Europe, it's a very different attitude. You are constantly seeing naked female bodies on billboards and fashion advertising and all of these sorts of things. In America, I feel like nudity is just synonymous with sex and pornography. In Europe, there is actually ways to display nudity where it becomes a type of art form. Because I truly do believe that there is a difference between artistic, tasteful, erotic nudity and straight up sexual pornographic nudity. I mean, here in Europe, you'll see a bunch of naked people at lakes and pools and stuff like this, and it really isn't a big deal. But here's the thing, if you were to walk into a pool or a beach in America with your shit hanging out, everyone's gonna be like,
Sue you for public indecency.
I think this situation really brings up the disparity between the two cultures and their attitudes towards the idea of body positivity / nudity. Because in this video, I don't think that anything is really that revealing. She's basically wearing what she would wear if she were to go swimming. I wouldn't suggest swimming at this period of time because you might catch something, but you know what I mean.
This whole body positivity thing is really quite confusing because you have half of the people saying that exposing your body, free the nip, and all of those things are actually empowerment, while the other half are saying that's over-sexualization and objectification by exposing your body like that. And in terms of body shaming and can somebody please explain this to me? All right, with that being said, back to the show.
But the thing that's good is that Billie Eilish is genuinely a very, very talented musician. I feel like she's a fairly decent influence amongst the youth. She is against body shaming and she doesn't really necessarily want to be only viewed as a sexualized pop icon, which she has stated before that she's purposely dressing more modestly so that doesn't happen. Because in the end, body shaming is bad. Right, Eilish?
Ew! The most beautiful girls get asked by the worst dudes to prom and they're like, yeah! Because they finally found someone that likes them. Why is every pretty girl with a horrible looking man? I don't understand. Listen, I'm not shaming people for their looks, but I am though. You give an ugly guy a chance, he thinks he rules the world. Because they got a hot girl, they can be horrible. Like, you're still ugly, though. Maybe that's like why like guys with small dicks get like huge mansions to make up for it, you know? Or like really nice cars.
All right, let's sit down for this one. This is a tough one. If you listen closely, you can actually hear the bells of cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is this weird thing when you see something that directly confronts your general worldview of something. Your mind will come up with reasons on why it's okay. In this particular case, I thought that Billie Eilish was totally against body shaming, but here I am, as a fan of her, I'm confronted with these comments that she made about ugly men. And my mind is trying to rationalize what she's saying by coming up with excuses. Here's a good one. She's really young. She's only about 17, 18 years old. And you know, at the age of 17 or 18, you always say something that you'll regret later on in life. And she just happens to be in the spotlight with a bunch of cameras on her practically at all times. And in the same way, Justin Bieber has made a bunch of mistakes. His were just amplified to the world, because I guarantee when you were 17 or 18, or maybe right now, even if you're younger, you've probably said some stuff in the past that you heavily regret, or you say something that you don't exactly believe anymore. I think that works. I mean, I guess it's okay to shame men that way. I guess if people claim that we live in a patriarchy, I guess it's fine to shame men for how they look. Because in the end, like, men don't really have any feelings, right? And if they do have feelings, they should be able to handle it, because, you know, they should be tougher about it. Because, like, you're right. Why are all of these pretty girls with ugly men? All that does is just give permission for ugly men to be horrible, apparently. But yes, you always gotta remember that men don't have any feelings. And it's totally fine to completely insult them and to demean them for their physical appearance. Yeah, so I guess it's okay. I mean, in that case, it's probably okay to have it the other way around. Yo, I don't really know why all these guys are hanging out with ugly girls in the club. And really, like, when these ugly girls end up with a hot dude, it like gives the ugly girls permission just to be horrible. And that's probably why girls with small tits and asses end up like getting educations and degrees, because like they gotta compensate for their small tits and ass. And I'm not like shaming the girls for like how they look, but like I am. 420, bro. Damn, that kind of hits different. Okay, it doesn't seem like sitting is helping me make any more sense of the situation, so let's get back up. Yeah, it's probably not okay, is it? But only because I'm the most cynical optimist that I know, I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt. And I guess people are justifying her just because it's just a joke. I've actually read some comments where people are saying, God, can't you take a joke? Because we as men definitely have to take everything that's being said to us, whether it's insulting or not, to be jokes, because we don't really have feelings anyways. But you already knew that. And I guess they are just words, and the fact that she has a bunch of teenage, young, impressionable, particularly female listeners and followers doesn't exactly mean that she has a responsibility to consistently watch her mouth to set a good example. Even though a lot of these younger girls are definitely probably not gonna go out with ugly dudes anymore. Especially when it comes to prom. Ew, ugly man! Oh, that sure brings me back to high school. What's it like to see an ugly duckling blue? But to claim that, you know, you're kind of about anti-body shaming and body positivity, and then you say that ugly men are useless, I completely agree with you. Ugly men don't mean shit. Men aren't shit. Guys aren't shit. Because I already have a mountain of toilet paper to cover all the shit that I need to shit with a shit. Because in the end, we all know that young people definitely say offensive stuff. Oh, wait, older people also say offensive stuff. Oh wait, people are offensive. And the good news, especially if you are a celebrity, is that if you say something offensive, or you say something that's morally incorrect, or you behave in a way that's absolutely detestable, all you gotta do is release an apology video. The quintessential YouTube talking head I'm sorry with a crying thumbnail. I am so sorry for murdering an entire village. I really didn't mean to. Their heads just walked into my sword. That's a medieval apology during the Crusades if they had YouTube. But yeah, nowadays all you gotta do is release an apology statement and then everyone forgets about it, and then you can continue being the terrible person you are for the next few months, and then release another apology video and continue the cycle and continue collecting your check, baby. We don't really use checks anymore. Let's just say credit card debt before the entire economy crashes. And with that being said, I would love to hear your opinion about this whole Billie Eilish thing. Do you agree or disagree with what she's doing or what she says? Share your thoughts with the world. And as the Prince of the Imaginary, aka your multidimensional flip lord, I'm gonna blast off to the home planet. Bitendo. Yeah.
So you a tough guy, like you really rough guy, just can't get enough guy, just always a fourth guy. I'm the bad type, make your mama sad type, make your girlfriend mad type, I said you was that type. I'm the bad guy. Duh. I'm the bad guy. I like it when you take control, even